The immune system is separated into two branches, innate and adaptive. The word innate indicates that you are born with a feature. All of us have innate defense systems that are functional at birth. The adaptive immune system develops as we are exposed to pathogens and other potentially harmful substances throughout our lives. In this case, the immune defense is acquired. Adaptive responses have a special feature that innate responses lack. The cells that respond to infection remember the agent on subsequent exposures. Immunological memory is important because in many cases, the cells that help to get rid of the pathogen in the first infection are trained to recognize it more quickly if you are infected again. Let's see how this works. The immune response is choreographed by cells and molecules that are produced by both the innate and adaptive branches of the immune system. The response starts with some signal of damage or infection in a cell that mobilizes the innate immune response. During the first stages of infection, pathogen molecules, these are called antigens, are produced and provide evidence that there is a foreign invader. Cells called antigen-presenting cells, which are part of the innate immune system, have the job of surveying for antigens and taking them to lymph nodes, command central, where the response to the foreign molecule unfolds. This is where the adaptive immune system joins in. The key players are called T cells because they originate in the thymus, and B cells, which are from the bone marrow. Each cell has a protein on the surface of the cell that can bind short pieces of molecules that are foreign. This short bit is called an epitope. There is almost an infinite repertoire of foreign molecular fragments that these receptors can bind. The goal is to match the epitope from the infecting pathogen with the surface protein on a T or B cell. This is similar to seeing if a key fits a lock. Only certain keys work. If the right combination is found, the T or B cell is activated and begins its job of producing chemicals to destroy the pathogen from which the epitope was obtained, or to kill cells that the pathogen has infected. B cells produce a protein called an antibody. Antibodies produced by B cells can be found in the blood. They bind to and kill or neutralize pathogens that are outside of a cell. T cells can directly kill an infected cell, which stops the replication of intracellular pathogens. Some types of T cells regulate others and prevent too much cell killing. T cells identify infected cells because pieces of the pathogen are displayed on the surface of the cell as evidence that there is an invader and that help is needed. Either or both cell types can be recruited to the site of infection by chemical signals elaborated during the early stages of infection by innate immune responses. Together, the T and B cells of the adaptive immune response get rid of a pathogen by killing cells that are producing a pathogen and by clearing pathogens that are circulating in the blood. This is a very efficient set of defenses because only a specific pathogen is targeted and the response is highly regulated. The amazing feature of the adaptive immune response is that both T and B cells have the ability to remember the epitope that elicited the initial infection. This means that the next time you are infected with the pathogen, you don't have to wait for all of the cell movement and communication that took place during the primary response. The T and B cells are ready to go. Immunological memory is key to preventing us from getting infected continually from pathogens that are always present in the population. This is why you are protected from viruses such as those that cause measles or chickenpox if you are infected as a child. In some cases, you are protected for life, but in other cases, the T and B cells that provide the long-term memory either don't develop well or don't seem to live as long. For example, many of the viral infections that cause the upper respiratory tract diseases we call the common cold don't seem to confer good long-term memory. Vaccines act in part as a proxy for the primary infection so that you obtain memory cells without actually getting infected. The key features of the adaptive immune response then are that it is very specific to a molecule that is unique to a pathogen, called an epitope, that the response can get rid of both the pathogen and infected cells, and that the T and B cells that effectively contain the pathogen during a first infection are retained so there is memory of the epitope should it appear again.